How would you define this barrier to learning in simple middle school appropriate language?
So anxiety is pretty broad, but I would describe anxiety in general as the body's response to a stressful event. So that could mean, in probably more extreme examples of anxiety, that your brain is triggering that fight or flight response in the body.
What are the most common classroom challenges associated with this barrier?
It's hard to simplify that, but if you're looking at the range of anxiety, typically anxiety, like I said, impacts the brain in those areas where the stress response is produced. So usually that affects your ability to concentrate in the classroom, your ability to memorize information. Sometimes kids struggle with that ability to process quickly. So if you're anxious, you might kind of freeze and not be able to respond. And other times when kids are anxious, they think too quickly and have a hard time slowing their bodies down.
What supports, accommodations, or school responses do you think are most effective?
So again, depending on the level of anxiety, but I think basic struggles with anxiety can be accommodated through simple, good teaching strategies in terms of giving students a chance to use fidgets or other things to kind of cope and calm their body down. If it becomes more extreme, we have what's called the student support team, which is a group of teachers, administration, guidance, and typically me, to kind of talk about ways we can help students in terms of giving them a pass to come see me and the psychologist, or guidance. If those things don't work, we can do more extreme measures like 504 accommodations and special ed.
What is one common misconception or stereotype you encounter about this barrier?
Again, depending on the level, but usually, I typically hear teachers or other professionals kind of saying that if they don't know anxiety is going on, usually they'll describe that as is this student lazy, or they, especially if they're avoiding school because they're so anxious. So I would say there's this misperception that maybe they're lazy, or they're having some type of learning problem that's not related to anxiety, that maybe they have a learning disability. I think that can sometimes be a misperception.
How does this barrier influence a student's sense of belonging or emotional well-being?
I always kind of say anxiety is sometimes associated with kids who are high achieving, or have this desire to do well and want to do well. So I think that there's a lot of shame that sometimes comes with anxiety, because these kids can't perform at the level that they want, and or are trying to perform at the level they want, but they the anxiety is kind of stopping them from doing their max performance.
All right, that's all we have.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
No problem. You guys almost finished.